SVB out of last year's World Nineball Championships. I want to say it was the last 16, maybe the quarterfinals.
You would be right to say last 16. 11 racks to 5.
So he's certainly not scared of the great American.
Yeah, he beat him again on his way to winning the Diamond Open in South Carolina back in October. Van Boening is well informed about what's going on in the game. He's very aware there's a new generation knocking on the door. Just seen one of them, Omar Al-Shaheen, defeat another in Mieszko Fortunski.
The first rack, Shane Van Boening to break.
So Shane Van Boening was gifted the win earlier today to some extent against Eklund Kachi, who just turned up late. And wow, the golden break in the opening rack. And just as I was about to say that Shane Van Boening took no time at all to get a 1-0 lead against Kachi, because Kachi turned up late, it's taken him only a couple of seconds longer to go into a 1-0 lead here. We've seen so many of these golden breaks this week, Carl.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the amount of racks of pool we are blessed with this week, you're going to see them. What we don't like to see as a professional is when the 9 goes straight in the corner, Michael, because that usually means the referee has not racked the balls too good below the 9 and it can squirt straight in the pocket. When it gets kicked in, well, nothing you can do about it. Would be an interesting stat to see at the end of a season who's had the most golden breaks or something.
Well, we'll put you in charge of keeping that across all the tournaments, big and small. We want a full report by the time of the Mosconi.
I think I'm the wrong man for that job, to be honest.
I'm not sure anyone's the right person for it. Here it is again. I'll tell you one stat. There can't be anyone who's won the opening rack of consecutive matches and taken less time to do it. One shot there, and as I say, he was gifted the opening rack against Kachi, who turned up late and then didn't really perform particularly well after that, which is hardly surprising given the preparation. Van Boening going on to win that 5-1. The first of 4 matches for the American today. So here's our first look at Szolnoki.
The 9 ball was moving again. It got kicked over towards the side. And it all kind of looked like Szolnoki were going to have a pretty easy opening shot. But the 7 ball has made this situation a little bit tricky. 2 balls awkward and all. That's probably a bigger issue, because he could maybe try and pot the 1 in the top corner and the 7 in the same shot. But what do you do with the 2? You might have to forget about the 7, dig down low and try and draw the cue ball off the rail into the 2 and the 8.
Max Lechner has just potted 4 balls off the break in rack 4 against Naoki Oi, so he's got a good chance there to go 3-1 up. As we were saying, he's looking for an absolute miracle. Lost his first 9 matches. Finally got a win last night. He needs to keep on winning to have any chance of getting through.
Szolnoki is placed in 9th position in the league with 4 wins. That's 4 points. There's a few players on 4 points though. Kelly Fisher is in 13th position. She's on 4 points. Fortunski, Woodward, and of course the man at the table, Szolnoki. So there's a lot going on, isn't there, Michael?
Yeah, and it's one thing being on 4 when you're moving in the right direction, like Fortunski generally is. Okay, he lost his last match, but he'd been racking up the wins prior to that. and then maybe being on 4 when you're heading the other way, like Kelly Fisher, who's been in something of a losing habit really over the last 24 hours or so. Having that forward momentum obviously gives you the confidence that you can find the remaining couple of wins you need. Max Lechner has just completed a 7-9 combination to go 3-1 up on Oy.
If there's one pool player you would think would not be at the bottom of the league table, well, it's the man that is at the bottom. That is Eklund Katche. 10 matches played with just 1 win. This has been a good reply from Oliver after he's watched Shane with a quick golden break rack. He's done well here. It was a tricky table layout.
So quality stuff so far. Golden break from Van Boening in the first rack. Break and run from Szolnoki in the second. And it's 1-all. Naoki Oy really can't afford a defeat here. He's only got 4 wins, and after this he's only got 3 more matches to go. But he's 3-1 down as he breaks off.
Nice table split there though for Oy.
He's in that group on 4, as we were saying, and he underlines what I was saying about the momentum. He was in a very good position. He won 3 of his 4 matches on Monday, but since then he's played 7 and only won 1 of them. If he doesn't turn this one around, well, he's in danger of his 4th defeat in a row. Finding the 2 more wins if you're on 4 doesn't look all that difficult if you're trending in the right direction. But getting to 6 can seem an awfully long journey when you've fallen into a losing habit, as Oy has. Lucius Yap, the only player he's beaten from the 7 matches he's played so far across Tuesday, Wednesday and today.
Yeah, he's just come round this side of the table because he wants to get the cue ball over on the right. It's very easy for him to get the cue ball onto the left. Getting it over to the right, he's got to play it hard. He's got to watch the slide here. It's going to go a little bit low. But as long as he's got the potting angle, he's okay. Back over to table 1. SV Breeze breaking in the 3rd.
This time the 9 barely moved at all. What's he got here, Carl?
He's got a relatively easy safety shot. Does a load of balls there near the 9 ball. You see the black 8 and the blue 2. He's trying to duck behind that. Then you see the cue ball. And that looks a fine effort.
He's had so many wins over really good players in the last 12 months, Szolnoki. We mentioned the win over Van Boening in the World Championship. He went on to beat Francisco Sanchez Ruiz in the next round. Also talked about his win over Van Boening in the Diamond Open. The match before that, he'd beaten Alexander Kazakis. And in the final, he saw off Joshua Filler. He also beat Van Boening in the US Straight Pool Championship a few months ago, on his way to the semis.
So he's been pretty consistent as Szolnoki.
Extension, please.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's one thing to beat one of the stars of the game. And the question is, can you do it again and again and build up that confidence that you need taking on the top players when you know you can beat them? And go into matches against them like this with nothing to fear.
Good thing with this format, Michael, is obviously moving forward, even after this group, it's going to get to the point where, yeah, everybody's playing everybody, and usually you're thinking of just playing each match as it comes to pick up the points. But the matches are going to become more important because the player you're playing, you're going to need to be beating that player to maybe get level with points or stop them creeping further ahead. So it's going to get real interesting, this.
Well, I've seen a lot of matches like that already. Al Shaheen and Fortunsky, the last match on this table, a prime example. And really, once we get to the final day on Monday, every match is going to be like that because there'll only be 6 players. They're all going to be pretty close to each other in terms of wins, you would think, towards the finish. The players who are winning at the moment are bound to hit a slump at some point. You don't really know how these formats are going to play out and unfold until you see them in action. That'll be the fascination of these next few days.
Good safety from Oliver. Shane attempted the full length jump bank. Wasn't far away.
Extension, please.
And that's carved out this opportunity for Oliver. The pot itself isn't really the difficult part here. It's getting on the blue too. Thinking a little further ahead. Possible pink 4-9 combo. Let's see how he deals with this first.
Well, that's okay. How difficult is that combination, Carl, and what are the positional considerations he has to bear in mind now on this shot?
Well, going off the camera angle that we can only see, it all depends on how much of the pocket he's got for the 9-ball. If the 9-ball goes in easy, it's not really that difficult. But he has lost the cue ball a little bit. He's gone a little bit low, hasn't he? He would like to have been a bit higher, but again, if the pocket is wide open, he should be fine.
Max Lechner, as you can see, on the brink of going 4-2 up against Naoki Oi as he looks for another win. Remember, you can watch all the Table 2 action on Matchroom.live throughout the week. And Szolnoki has gone for the combination, and he's got it. He leads Shane van Boening 2-1.
Extension, please.
We'll just have a look at the action here. So after all those defeats, Lechner could be one rack away from making it 2 wins on the bounce. Oh, that needs to slow up, and it has. This is a little tester, though. Seen easier balls than this missed today.
Yeah, Max has missed a few silly balls over the few days, so this is a tester.
Well, he's underlined what we've said, and it may well cost him.
Disgust in the face of Max Lechner.
Yeah, we've seen that expression a lot from him over the few days so far. So Naoki Oi has taken that rack. It's now 3-all. We'll have more from Szolnoki and van Boening in a moment.
Welcome back to this year's Predator Premier League pool.
Oliver Szolnoki is leading the match.
Oliver Szolnoki is leading, 5-time US Open pool champion. Shane Van Boening 2 racks to 1. Still early stages in this match, but Szolnoki, well, he looks to be playing well, and he needs to win. He's only on 4 points as it stands. Oh, this looks like it's going to be dry. Wing ball didn't really go close, and I think Shane does have a shot on this yellow 1 ball, so that's turned out okay. Cue ball's a little close, but it looks like he's got a nice little angle just to run through to play the 2 in the bottom left. Whenever the cue ball and the object ball's close together, it can be a little bit twitchy. You always feel like you can't deliver the cue through as well as you would like. Now he's got a little bit of a gap here because he needs to stun this ball round. Oliver's having a little chat with himself there. What's he saying?
Maybe he's reminding himself of all the wins he had over Van Boening last year.
Trying to find that little bit of a rail just next to the 6 ball. Yeah, nicely done. Needs this cue ball to slow down. And it's gonna, yeah, that's okay. He did play for this 3 in the top pocket.
Pretty rotten day for Van Boening yesterday, having won all 5 going into Wednesday's play. He didn't win enough racks in his 3 matches yesterday to even amount to 1 win. Only had a total of 4 racks. He was beaten 5-3 by Joshua Filler. No massive surprise that. But then 5-0 against Lucius Yap. 5-1 against Mieszko Fortunski. Looking for a swift response today. And as I say, he was gifted it a little against Declan Catchy, who arrived late. Forfeited the first rack as a result. Having basically just got out of bed. Clearly wasn't at his best. None of that, of course, was Van Boning's fault. He gratefully accepted the opportunity and won the match comfortably.
They can go wrong, these shots, because sometimes you can overhit them and then leave yourself tricky on the 9. And then other times you underhit them and leave themselves tricky on the 9. Just like this. Didn't get through it enough. So this is tricky. He can still cut this ball in, but it's a lot harder than he would have liked.
And with that, Shane Van Boening makes it 2-all. It's all really turned against Max Lechner on the other table. Looked to be in contention for his 2nd win. But Naoki Oi is now on the hill at 4-3, and Lechner scratched off the break in the 8th rack, which may well prove to be his last shot. And Oi will be delighted if he can get the win, because he would have known he needed a couple more from his few remaining matches. If he had a look at his schedule, he would have identified this as an obvious place to perhaps get one of those wins. Now, very good chance he's going to do that. Defeat for Lechner, if it comes, would leave him with just 1 win after 11 matches.
Yeah, it was that missed 9 ball from Max that has pretty much, looks like it's cost him this match. Can't be missing balls like that at this level and expect to win matches.
Yeah, and it could just have killed off any lingering hopes he might have had of getting through to the next phase. If he loses this, then the best he can get to is 5 wins, and even that is only by winning all his remaining matches. And as we've been saying, feeling now is that 5 wins may well not be enough. there'll be better days ahead for Max Lechner. Everyone in the game knows what a capable player he is. Number 5 in the new world ranking list. And there may be better times ahead for him in this match. It is not over yet. And is that a combination, Carl? The 7-9?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. When you don't quite get right on that type of shot and you're cutting it back into a blind pocket, them balls used to be unmissable. But now, in the player's mind, they know they can't catch that rail.
Well, looks like he's more interested in playing the carom, perhaps, from where he's placing his cue there.
Extension, please.
He could even play the bank, you know. The bank into the top right corner is on. But if he feels like the billiards on, he's going to play that, so let's see.
Back now on the main table, but he has gone for the carom or the billiards, the term you used. And Max Lechner, surprisingly, finds himself going hill-hill in a match that looked to have slipped away from him after that scratch on the break.
This is a useful break from SVB. He has a shot at the 3. He must be dead straight. And the reason why I say that is because he kind of flung his arm up in the air as if to say, why not just give me a little bit of an angle? The reason why he needs angle is because the ball after this ball, when he's about to pot, is the pink 4. And he doesn't have much of a gap because of the other ball, does he? So he's got to get near the rail after this shot. He just didn't have enough angle. He tried to pound that ball in with left spin. And he's actually done well to get there, to be fair. It looks a bad shot, but it's not. It wasn't easy. Trying to create an angle that's not really there. That's a skill within itself. Now he's down quick. I don't know if he can see the potting angle.
10 seconds.
Well, he could.
Possibility of a bank maybe for Szolnoki on the 4.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him taking that shot on Michael. He's certainly there. He's just weighing up. There's a lot of little systems on a pool table that you can look at and try and help, but the bottom line, it comes down to feel as well. Oh, don't fluke it. I never like to see the players fluke it when they've missed the intended pocket.
What do you mean by that, Carl, when you talk about systems? What are you referring to there?
So, for instance, if we just look at the pocket where the 9-ball is, if you were to roll the 9-ball from the position it's in onto the left rail, there's a middle diamond. Do you follow where I'm going with this?
Yeah, yeah.
If you roll it onto that diamond, that will go in the right centre pocket. So, but obviously if you hit it hard, it comes a little bit lower. So you can use it as a bit of a guide, but then it still does come down to feel and execution. But it's always nice to have that little guide.
It's like bringing a bit of geometry into it.
I knew you would like something like that. I could see your eyes light up, Michael.
Systems are good. You know where you are with systems, Carl. But as you say, you've got to have a bit of feel and instinct as well.
Got 2 options here. He's going to draw back with a little bit of spin. Or he could play a stop shot and play a bank. I think drawing the cue ball back is the shot. It's not too difficult to get it moving. Yeah, nice shot. Over on table 2, Nukio looked like he was going to win that match. So we've seen what happened, and Max Lechner's got these 4 balls to win another point. And that's going to hurt Hoy, isn't it, Michael? Because it looked like he was going to win. He had chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he's in a situation where he's probably got to win, I would think, 2 of his 3 remaining matches. Given the losing habit he's fallen into, that could be a lot to ask. But we've seen Lechner stumble so many times on the brink of winning racks over the last few days, so let's not mark down the result just yet. What we can mark down, though, is that Oliver Szolnoki has regained the lead against Shane van Boening at 3-2. So over to the other table then, the last moments of this encounter. Finally got his first win last night against Jason Shaw. That was pretty much the last thing that could go wrong. Surely, having come this far, he's not going to falter on the 9. So a match that looked to have slipped away from him after he'd scratched off the break in rack 8. Was in a really good position in the early stages of the group, but now with only 3 matches to go, he's going to need a big finish if he's to get through. Oliver Szolnoki looking for a big finish to this match. He's 3-2 up and he's got the break.
Pretty good break there from Oliver. Made the 1 in the side. 2 ball looks like it sneaks past the 9 ball. But that is very thin. So I don't know if he can even pot the 2 and get position. Safety doesn't look too difficult. He's got a couple of options on the safety. On table 2,
Extension call.
Albin Ocean. He's playing Jason Shaw, so that's a good matchup. If you want to watch that match, head over to matchroom.live and you can see the 2 Mosconi Cup teammates battle it out.
Yeah, Shaw should be through. He's got 6 wins on the board already. Ocean goes into that, having finally gone down to his first defeat, having won his first 10 matches, beaten 5-1 earlier by David O'Cady.
Oliver wanted the cue ball right on top of that red 3. And I'm wondering, can Shane, can he spin this ball in?
Extension, please.
Anyway, it's close, so we'll see how he gets on. Yeah, he's gone for the jump cue. He could spin it round, but he was worried about getting on the 3 ball. It's not too bad. Six ball's been his friend there because it was travelling a bit, that cue ball, so it could have been a lot worse for SVB.
With all the balls quite close to the rails, Carl, you can see that big V that's forming on the table now. The breaking lines, as it were, on both sides of the table. Just underlines how much pool is being played here. So how is that going to affect things when the tables are in almost constant use for about 12 or 13 hours a day? How does that affect the way the table plays as the days go on?
I think what will happen is the table stops sliding as much, but the cloth is still new, so you're probably always going to still get the slide even near the end of the event, but that's what usually would happen. So the pool players are more used to an older cloth, because obviously when you're practicing, maybe you're practicing a pool hall, or if you've got a table at home, you're not going to keep reclothing it every, really quick to keep the slide, that's for sure. But I would imagine table fitters probably need to, I think they do keep checking anyway, but they do say when you level a table, because of the sheer weight of it, I think you're supposed to come back and re-level it after a certain amount of time because it's settled into the floor. But I know the table fitters are here, so they'll keep having a look. Maybe they'll cover the tables as well at some point.
Some players break off from the left, some from the right, so that's why you've got lines on both sides, and as I say, forming that V, just to underline the point about the wear and tear. As Carl has outlined, it does have some impact on the way the table plays. This wasn't entirely straightforward. A few little things to figure out along the way, but it looks like he's done it now. So they were level at 1-all, level again at 2-all. And with that, Shane van Boening makes it 3 each. The finish is next. Shane van Boening cruised through his first match of the day against an out-of-sorts Eckland Catchy, but it's a very different story here against another young man from Eastern Europe. Oliver Szolnoki is the opposition, and it's 3 apiece as van Boening starts us off again.
The 7th rack, Shane van Boening to break. Scored 3 racks each.
Not having much luck on the break is Shane. Things always seem to be awkward.
Yeah, I think you're summing it up perfectly there. He's breaking all right, but not getting the fortune. Although maybe he used all that up in the opening rack with the golden break.
Yeah, in theory, I could see what we were trying to do. We were trying to lock the cue ball up behind the brown 7 and dislodge the bad 3 ball. Just forgot about the cue ball, though.
Extension, please.
Oliver's eyeing up across bank into the left centre. Yeah, good shot. So, because Shane didn't lock the cue ball up and hook Oliver, he gave him this chance.
Match started, as we were saying, with a golden break. We were talking about them earlier, comparing it to the hole-in-one in golf. There was a lot of talk about the Phoenix Open last weekend, where players, as tradition dictates at that tournament, were getting beer cans thrown at them when they made a hole-in-one. Do you reckon when the crowds are back for some of the other events later in the year at Poole, Carl, that could be something that could take off? You'd be the first in line to throw your can out, wouldn't you?
I'm not wasting any can, that's for sure. But I think the crowd at the Moscone is ruthless enough as it is without throwing objects at the players. That's pretty good from Oliver. This has all come around from the nice cross bank he played at the start of this rack. And it's always nice to get on the hill first. You always feel like it gives you a little bit of breathing space.
Very much so. And of course, he'll have the break next. Very meticulous. Leaves nothing to chance. Just making sure no little speck of dirt has got any chance to throw the balls offline here. And Oliver Szolnoki is first to the hill. He leads Shane van Boening once again at 4-3. So coming towards the finish on the main table. Over on table 2, still in the early stages of the last match of the session there. Pretty miserable looking Alban Ocean for someone who's won 10 matches already. He's lost the opening rack here against Jason Shaw. who should be safely through now to the next phase, but is looking for a few more wins to carry forward with them. This would be a particularly good one to get.
Well, this is not going to be easy to hit.
Extension, please.
I think it always looked unlikely, even going into today, that Albin Ocean would complete the perfect 15. He had so many tough opponents to come over the 2 days. And by his own admission, he wasn't playing his very best stuff. He was just finding ways to win matches. He acknowledged he was getting a bit of good fortune. And you can't keep going to the well in that regard.
It's a foul.
So as Jason gets ball in hand over on table 2, Szolnoki's breaking and he's on the hill. He's made a ball and he's got a chance. He has a shot at this one in the side. The 2 balls over the bottom right. Granted, he's got to still get position on that, but when it's all said and done, this is more than a good chance for the match. Seven balls a little bit awkward. That's why he's just looking at there. He's looking at the 5 to the 7. Of course, this is later on in the rack, but this is what you do. But it is a decent chance. So he's just trying to find that gap in between them 2 balls. Doesn't want to leave himself bridging like this. That makes things a little awkward. He can still just pop the ball and he's got a shot on the 3. Just got to be careful you don't drop the bridge or flick the 3 ball with your cue.
10 seconds.
Well, that was needless, wasn't it? Really could have avoided leaving himself that, and in the end, that was always the danger, that he just wouldn't really connect properly. And what a gift this could be for Van Boening.
Yeah, I think it's clear to see the bridge is not his favourite tool on the pool table, because I still fancied him to pot that, to be honest.
10 seconds.
You saw Marcel Eckhart there in the background keeping a watchful eye. And you just know if there is any infringement, Marcel will spot it. So efficient and competent as a referee.
It's amazing, really. If the cue ball doesn't land on the 3, he's won the match. Always seems to land exactly where you don't want it.
Yeah, Van Boening a little earlier was bemoaning his lack of good fortune from the break, which he has cause to do a couple of times in this match. But no doubt about it, fortune favoured him there. And now the whole situation turns around, because he's 4 balls away here from going hill-hill, and he would then have the break in the last rack. And Szolnoki will be so gutted if he doesn't win this from here, because he really couldn't have asked for the break to fall any better for him. He's a very intense young man, expects a lot of himself, wants to prove he belongs as a genuine world player. He's been in the semi-finals of the World Championship. As we say, he's beaten Shane Van Boening a few times over the last 12 months. If he loses now, he'll look back on this as a real missed opportunity. And of course, would leave him probably still needing 2 more wins and only 4 matches to get them.
Extension, please.
Shane's lost the cue ball there on the previous shot. He wanted to be dead straight on this combo. Then it was unmissable, but now, whenever you're playing a combo like this, and there's a bit of an angle, it just changes the shot a little bit. Well, he's decided to play the bank, so that's fair enough. Good shot. He's lost the cue ball again here. He was playing for the 9 in the same pocket.
He's making hard work of it. No doubt about that. Szolnoki might just see a glimmer of hope in this rack. Not anymore, though. So running next to the 3 made things difficult for Szolnoki. Missed the shot with the bridge, let Van Boening back in, and the American legend has made it 4 each. And when that match is over, we'll turn our thoughts to this one and see it through to the end. Albin Ocean just taking the 3rd rack there to get off the mark against Jason Shaw, trailing 2-1. So this is going to be Van Boning's 3rd hill finish so far in the tournament. He's won both of the previous 2. So we're coming towards the end of the early session today. This is what's coming up on table 1 tonight. Great one to start off, Al-Qaedi against Van Boening, who will also be on in the last of the night against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, and that'll be completing a double header for the Spaniard against American stars, because he'll be playing Skylar Woodward. Before that, we'll be seeing Max Lechner back-to-back. Can he continue his desperate bid to turn this around and somehow get through to the next phase? And be up against it against Joshua Filler. Then he plays Eklund Kachi, who's struggling even more than Lechner is. And the other match there will be the second one on, Lucius Yap against Kelly Fisher, who really needs to start finding that winning habit again. It seems to have deserted her over the last 24 hours or so. So that's all coming up this evening on table 1. Over on 2, Naoki Oi and Skylar Woodward will get things up and running. Then Alex Kazakis, who's going really well against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, who's turned things around. Mieszko Fortunski, who's also recovered from a poor start, plays Yap. Then Omar Al-Shaheen against Jason Shaw, who we'll be seeing more of in a moment. Kelly Fisher, we mentioned there, she'll be playing Szolnoki. And David Al-Qaedi and Eklund Kachi will be last on table 2 on this 4th day of the Predator Premier League. Shane Van Boening then with the break in the deciding rack. Yeah, needed that too to pull up a few rolls earlier. Once again, Carl, he's broken pretty well, but not got that bit of good fortune he wanted.
No, it's just been the case for Shane's break, not just in this match as well. His last few matches, he's obviously been on a bit of a losing streak. And then you just try and find something happen, don't you? As he shows his disgust.
10 seconds.
Push out call. Extension, please.
Yeah, there's not really many options for the push out.
Your option, Ollie.
So I mentioned Shane Van Boening has won both his hill finishes so far in this tournament. Oliver Szolnoki has only had one. That was against Lucius Yap yesterday, and he lost it. Quick look next door. Jason Shaw closing in on a 3-1 lead over Alban Ocean. The winning machine of the first few days could be in danger of back-to-back defeats. Still a bit of a way to go there.
That's a nice shot. Very nice shot. Needs to hurry up, Shane, because he's used his extension. He's trying to get the cue ball back in behind the 7. Well, no, he's not. He's trying to fluke something. He's trying to make something happen, and I think the end result is not going to be too bad, would you? Just look at that.
Not complaining about his luck now.
Extension called.
Not surprisingly, Szolnoki taking his extension now. Classic situation of knowing a misjudged shot could be his last.
Yeah, I think hitting the 2 ball is not going to concern him. He's actually trying to pop the red 3 in this corner near where he stood. And if it's it full, it might go in the other corner. So let's see how he contacts this well. He's hit it way too thin. The 7 ball, he's looking at it. Oh, he's fuming, and he should be, because he played a good safety. And now SVB, with a bit of lady luck, has got this chance.
Fuming, as you say, but we've got to think back to the previous rack. He played a loose positional shot, needlessly left himself with awkward bridging. Through Van Boening, an absolute gift of a lifeline, and that's why he's in this position.
Is there another twist in this match? Shane has obviously won a lot of pool tournaments over the years, and you can't do that without being in this situation and running this type of rack out at Hill Hill.
Needs the win. Defeat would make it 4 losses in the last 5 matches. Remember, your record in the first phase, if you get through, all carries forward.
Now, he would have liked it a little, another half a ball to the right, but he's still okay. No, it was actually better than I first thought. Now, can he get the cue ball off the rail once he draws this 7 ball back? Reason I say that is because if you can, it makes the 9 so much easier. Yeah, and he can, so Lady Luck has helped SVB, and we're not denying him that because he's been on the wrong end in the last few matches.
Oliver Szolnoki has had 3 high-profile victories over Shane Van Boening in the last 12 months. He had a great chance to claim a 4th. He'll be absolutely gutted that it didn't happen, and it leaves him still only on 4 wins and a lot to do.